We are at the top of the bridge. So that's Lake Huron on the right. It's massive. And then Lake Michigan is over there. Also massive. This is like a longer Golden Gate Bridge. It's really nice. So there's steel girders in the middle 2 lanes, and then there's asphalt on the outside lanes. Wow. Look at this thing. I guess you can't walk across it, no. Unlike the Golden Gate where you can walk across and you can feel the bumps going up and down, you can't walk across this one. It's probably because it's too long. So, anyway, I'm just enjoying the ride. This is super cool. I love bridges. It's super windy up here! Alright, today we're going to get to Mackinac Island. We are taking the Mackinac Island Ferry Company Starline boat. It's right over there. There's another ferry company leaving right now. Sheplers, except they don't allow dogs, so these guys do, so we're going with them. The water's a little bit rough this morning. I sent the drone out to catch the sunrise, but it's windy. I got a windy warning, so I had to reel it back in. I was gonna fly. It's about 4 miles to Mackinac Island. I was gonna fly over there with the drone, but not happening today. Although it's gonna be a really, really nice day today. So this is a Thursday, and it's actually the beginning of the car show today. So it's gonna be loud and squealy and cool, but we're going to be on Mackinac Island for the day. Me and the Charlie dog are going to tour the island. Go to the Grand Hotel and just have a relaxing, fun day. I've always wanted to come up here, so finally doing it. The boat's hauling ass. So it takes about 15 minutes to get to the island, like between 14 and 18 minutes, they said. So, quick trip. No cars on the island, just bicycles and horse-drawn carriages. So, depending on whether they let me take Charlie on a carriage, I will get a carriage and tour around that way. But I'm not really sure. Dogs and horses, don't know. But anyway, it's going to be a long day of walking. I know that. Lots of walking today, so I'm excited. Let's go to Mackinac Island. Good morning.
Stay warm, fellas. Yeah.
Up. Alright, we made it. Charlie was a little nerve-wracked. Come on, let's go. Where are we going? Where are we going? Horses. Horses everywhere. See the horses, Charlie? See the horses?
What's that? You can just stay right here. We need some at Shepler's and some here too.
Hold on, Charlie. Come here. All right, we're gonna walk around for a little bit first, and then decide whether we're gonna rent a bike or not.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There's horses for everything. Fudge everywhere. Patrick, Starbucks, Patrick Feeds Pub, Orange Bar. Fort Mackinac. Highlight of your Mackinac Island visit. Closed. There's the fort up there. Adult 1625. Guess we're not doing that. It's the harbor. Cool old buildings. So we're just gonna walk. We'll take a little walk. And if we get tired, we'll take a carriage ride later. Charlie's allowed on the horse and carriage rides, so we'll take a little walk first, and then decide. It's a lot of walking, but we'll try it out. Mackinac Island State Park, Michigan's first state park. There's the fort up there, super cool. Let's go for a little walk. Houses are super old. All right, so we decided to go for a carriage ride. Get a tour, save on the walking. Charlie's kind of limping right now, so maybe twisted his ankle on the boat ride over. So, horse and buggy ride, tour of Mackinac Island.
Yeah, okay. Let's go, boys. Yeah, let's go. Alright, awesome. Good morning, welcome to Mackinac Island. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Okay, awesome. Love to hear it. My name is Duck, like the bird, like you guys heard, the quack quack bird, not the cuckoo bird. Dove. Anyhow, that was not very good. My name is Duck. I'll be your guide for the first part of the tour today. Our horses that we have out in front of us, over on the left here, this is Trey, and on the right here is Farley. And this is actually Farley's first day on the road doing tours for us, so the first time I've actually taken him for a spin with any sort of a load on my carriage, so we'll see what we think. Trey's been here for a while. He's one of my favorite horses out here on the island, actually, so we'll see how I like this combination. Let's go get us around town. Now, we are in our downtown area here. We have all of our shops, hotels, restaurants, everything like that open right now. But by the end of October, almost all of this will completely shut down. Very few things will stay open all throughout the winter. One thing that will is our grocery store, Dow's Market, off here to the left. It is the oldest family-owned grocery store in the United States, opened up in 1884. Stays open all year round to serve our about 500 year-round residents. And as you can see, they're going to get all their deliveries by horse. Up to the right now, we have Marquette Park. This is named for Father Marquette, an early French missionary to the island. There is a statue of him there in the middle of the park, but it doesn't really look much like him. That's because Father Marquette came here so early that when the artist was making that statue, he didn't have a very good likeness. Mackinac in the early 1800s. And he became famous about 200 years ago when he met an unfortunate fur trader named Alexis St. Martin, who had accidentally shot himself in the stomach. So I find it home except for one small thing. They don't actually deliver any mail. We have a saying here on the island that goes, rain, snow, sleet, or hail, you come pick up your own darn mail. All the residents do have to get it themselves, but a little trick for you is that we do have UPS on the island. They will deliver by a horse-drawn wagon, of course. So if you see one of those later loaded up with Amazon packages, that is in fact our UPS truck. We don't quite get Amazon 2-day deliveries, usually 3 or 4, but not bad all things considered with the horses and the boats and all. Now, up to the right here we have our courthouse and police station, and behind it on either side you're going to see some big bay doors. Those doors there do hold Mackinac Island's deepest, darkest secret that you definitely haven't seen already. Motorized vehicles. So as you notice, we do have a few cars out here on the island. There's actually a surprising number if you really know where to start looking for them. But they're all going to be for emergency and maintenance purposes, essentially because if your house is on fire all the way up the hill, you probably don't want Trey and Farley here to be the speed of your rescue. But we do try to keep those vehicles inside when we can because, for one, they do kind of get in the way. They ruin the image and the vibe of the island when they're out. And they do also scare some of the horses. Not all of them are big fans of the cars. And that is a big reason why we banned them originally on the island 125 years ago. Because back then, of course, the horses have never seen cars before in their lives. They're terrified of them. But there was also a really big push from the carriage industry. All the people involved with that were scared that the cars would replace the horses and carriages, everything they built out here. So they're the ones who ended up really, really pushing for the ban. And it's stuck pretty darn well for the past 125 years. Now that ambulance, basically all the plants you're going to see, this one, all of these off to the left down the hill, are lilacs. We have a lot of lilacs out here on the island. We have about 250 different cultivars of the common lilac, and it comes in 18 different colors out here. Then the flowers die, but it's nice while it lasts. Now if you guys are sitting around here thinking, hey Duck, your job is really, really cool, I want to try it out for myself, you go down the street to the left here, that takes you to Jack's Livery Stables, and there they will let you rent out your own little one-horse buggy to drive yourself around the island. Before you go, they will give you about a 5 to 10 minute crash course on how not to crash a carriage, and then they will set you loose with an 1,800-pound animal of that if they have the mind, don't die. Like that, it sounds a little scary, but not to worry, all of the horses are trained professionals. They will get you back safely to the barn because they know that's where all of the food is. Off to the right now, this here is Littlestone A-OK. Look down to the left now, you'll start to see a little playground on the lake shore behind it or beside it, kind of hiding in the trees. We do have a public school here on the island. So like I mentioned, we do have people who stay here all year. They don't have to worry about getting their kids to and from the mainland every day. Yeah, but it's pretty small. They usually have, and the Grand is the world's largest summer hotel, so they do close down in the winter like just about everything else on this island does. We have the longest covered porch in the world there at 660 feet. It's longer than 2 football fields, and it has seen famous guests such as Thomas Edison and Mark Twain. It's well as a few movie stars. We've actually had 2 movies filmed out here. There is one in the 40s called This Time for Keeps that starred Olympic swimmer Esther Williams. Another one, a little bit more well-known, is called Somewhere in Filming. It was filmed in 1979, starred James Seymour and Christian Murphy. And the fun thing is that James Seymour does come up to visit the island. She was actually here just last week. And my question is, so she stayed in the Grand Hotel while she was up here, and there's a James Seymour suite in the Grand. And I want to know, does she stay in the James Seymour suite when she's up here? And if she does, is that conceded? These are questions I do not have the answers to. Rooms, and it took them just 93 days to build it. Very fast. It was a little bit of a rush job because the companies that built it were so eager to get people up to the island that they started booking out rooms before they actually built the thing. So of course this becomes a bit of an issue, right? They have to go to their workers and tell them, hey, you guys need to finish this hotel in 90 days. The workers say no thank you. So then the bosses offered them $1 million as a bonus if they could do it in that time, and the workers decided maybe 90 days is possible after all. So they got going. There were about 600 of them, and they worked essentially 24/7 around the clock to get it done, doing their fastest, but perhaps not best work. As you see, they built the hotel from either side in, and by the time they met in the middle, they realized that their measurements were off by about 6 inches, and their hallways did not line up. But they didn't have any time to fix that, so they just kind of laid a board over and called it good, and you can still find uneven hallways and staircases in the Grand Hotel these days. But to give the workers their credit, they were on track to finish the hotel within those original 90 days when one of the workers overheard the bosses talking about how the workers weren't going to see a single cent of that $1 million. That's pretty fun. Poor guy had broken a horn, and so he got that, cleaned up, trimmed up, and now he's a unicorn because he just had the horn. Yeah. Poor guy. That's a pothole Trey. Trey is scared to on 3 horses though, so he's big enough to be one of them. But they will pull the largest passenger carriages in the world. They'll hold 35 people plus the driver, and you guys will get to ride on one of those for the second part of the tour here in a little bit. Then this last barn that we're going to pass by here, this is called Big Barn. This is where Trey and Farley and all of our other 2-horse students live. So it is where I spend a lot of my time, because as a driver I am responsible for my own horses. So I take care of these guys morning and night, get them groomed, harnessed, washed off. And then at the end of the day, I will take all of the harnessing off, give these guys a full body bath, because they will get a little bit sweaty and stinky working throughout the day. I do like to make sure that they're nice and clean before we kind of tuck them into bed.
Carriages. Fire truck. Fire carriage. Horse-drawn carriage tours began on Mackinac Island in the early 1800s. One of its 10 in the United States. There's a hearse. Mackinac Island hearse. Official hearse used by island residents has been used by the island family since 1875.
More like a year. One in the middle is like, I don't care.
You folks can go ahead and forget all of those names because none of them matter anymore. Now you're going to learn the names of the more important half of your carriage tour right here. The better half, if you will. So up front, we have 3 beautiful horses here. You're going to notice that one is not like the others. The one on the far left, that is a Belgium draft horse. The one in the middle and the one in the far right, they are Percheron draft horses. Now the one on the right, the Belgian, his name is Ryan. Everybody say hello, Ryan. Hello, Ryan. On a boat, skip across the lake, and I'm home. So where's everybody else? Around trying to find their correct headstone. You come up here looking for your Uncle Tom, you might find somebody else's Aunt Sally. Now folks, this is St. Anne's Catholic Cemetery. Over to your right, you're going to see a sign on the bottom that says no alcoholic beverages. Don't know how that makes sense, seeing that this is in fact a Catholic cemetery. Now folks, if you look at the end of my whip here, follow it to that general direction. You should see a green sign with gold writing on it. That sign on there, it has the name Mary Biddle written on it, and the date is 1831. You guys remember anything about the Biddle family from Market Street? So Edward and Agatha Biddle, they purchased their house for $100. The plumbing is made out of tamarack wood, and they had a daughter named Mary. Now, in the winter months, there's what's called an ice bridge that forms between St. Agnes and Mackinac Island. Now, the Biddle family, they would actually go across this ice bridge, and Mary would get a little bit off the track there and would fall through a thin patch of ice into the frigid cold waters. Now, they saved her from the water, but unfortunately, she caught pneumonia and would pass away a few days later at the young age of 8 years old. Now, Edward and Agatha, absolutely devastated by the loss of their daughter, they decided they were going to do everything they could to make sure nobody would experience the same fate again. So they went around to all the residents here on the island, collecting Christmas trees to mark out the safe passage of the ice bridge. And it's to this day that the island residents still follow tradition and mark out the safe passage with Christmas trees. That side on the bottom there, closest to us. That's where people crashing their carriages into it. So if you're in the back right-hand corner, good luck to you. I gotta go wide enough to miss that tree, but sharp enough to also miss the Protestant wall directly in front of us. So of course, you have the Catholic cemetery to the right, you have the Protestant cemetery to the left. They had to stay separated because even in the afterlife, they can't get along. What I'm gonna talk about is the archway itself. The archway was designed to be able to accommodate the hearse to allow it to pass through the gate. But the problem is they made the arch exactly as tall as the hearse is high. Now the reason why that's a problem is because they forgot one little detail. The driver of the hearse, he sits on top of it. So they never could drive the hearse through there because if they did, they'd end up with one headless hearseman. Thank you, I'll be here all week. That is terrifyingly underwhelming. Now, Skull Cave used to be a lot bigger than that. You used to be able to fit 2 of these carriages, the horses and passengers, inside that cave. But the problem was, college kids used to go up there and party inside of there all the time, which was originally in Mackinac City, just to the south of the Mackinac Bridge. Now, the natives, they were furious with the British and their unfair trading practices, and they were allies with the French. So naturally, they didn't want the British to have control of the waterways here. So they decided they were going to send out war parties to attack all of the British encampments around the Great Lakes, Fort Mackinac included. Now there was a chief named Chief Wawadam, and he was well aware of this. Down there, of course, you can see the fort. Rifle range is where the troops would actually go twice a week and practice their marksmanship with the rifle. Rebuilt the fort here on Mackinac Island because they didn't want the American soldiers to be able to attack them easily. So they built the fort here in 1780, which would be finished in 1781. Then about 16 years passed by, the British would actually abandon the island, and the Americans would then take possession of the fort. A few more years would pass by, the year 1812 would come around, and the British would decide that they were going to try to take control of the Great Lakes and the state of Michigan. And they started right here with that on Mackinac Island. What the British did was they decided that they were going to come to what is now known as British Landing, the backside of the island. Barracks. Is anybody going to get off and tour the fort? Anybody that's not Viking tours, is anybody wanting to get off at the fort? So they went ahead and had their own little houses built just for them. These houses were built in 1786. Or excuse me, 1876. Now, that sign right there is going to say something along the lines of Commanding Officer Quarters 1876, not public on the bottom there. Now what that means is you folks are not allowed to tour this building, unfortunately. And occasionally a United States President will even stay there as well. But again, we're never told when that happens.
Alright, so we got off the carriage. Charlie's being restless. So we were walking to the Grand Hotel. It's about a 10-minute walk. So I think after the Grand, we're out of here. Pretty much toured the whole island. I'm tired. Charlie was not very cooperative in the buggy. The Grand Hotel. There's the Grand Hotel. And it is grand. Alright, we are leaving the Grand Hotel, which is definitely grand. It's the longest balcony in the world. But you have to pay $12 to go sit on it. Ooh. So, not doing that. But there's a big party going on here on the grounds. The pool is very impressive. Mackinac Bridge. Alright, I think we're about done. Alright, we are leaving. We just got some drone footage of the Grand Hotel. Super cool. Charlie got a drink out of Lake Huron. Got the boats coming in. There's the bridge in the distance. And we are out of here. I had a good time at Mackinac Island. Hope you guys enjoyed the footage. See ya.